All right, we're back, and this time we're going to be talking about my side of the homework assignment. This
Yep.
is Steamboy. This was actually directed by, illustrated by, produced by everything Katsuhiro Otomo. He just did the screenplay for Metropolis.
Right.
This was another total production by him. Um, the what I wrote by Steamboy is what I thought should be the subtitle of this movie, and it's the moral dichotomy of being a scientist.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the theme of a lot of his works, really. But this, it really is like that's just the focus of this movie. Is
Yeah.
like science is cool, but it's bad because people
Misuse it.
misuse it.
Yep.
On the film, some just stats about it. It is the most expensive Japanese film ever produced.
Still, like to this day.
Like $26 million production budget,
Wow.
and that's from that time. I think there people estimate like with that being adjusted, it's like something like three times that or something.
Yeah.
Um, it
Put in
was
an inflation calculator, and you're like, oh my goodness.
it was like a 2.4 billion yen
Hmm.
at the time. It was in production for 10 years, and it utilized it was over 180,000 drawings and 440 CG cuts.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, it literally this was a decade in the making, and all that came around to gross 18.9 million globally.
It breaks your heart, dude.
Yeah,
I,
and
I can only imagine how he felt. Oh my goodness.
I had this as the bottom line, but I'll go ahead and say it here. Otomo never did anything again after this. Never did anything big. He did a few other things. This was, I think, what he thought was going to be his like becoming Walt Disney
Yeah.
kind of moment, and it was the nope. This is like we're going to transition out of this world where you hand draw everything. CGI is going to take over, and there's not a place in this world of anime for you, which really stinks because he's a good storyteller. But
We we were talking about this when we were talking about Akira, but it's definitely a shame that that his career ended with this.
yeah, yeah, because I mean he's still alive, and
Yeah.
I think he's only like in his early 70s now, and this was oh man, what was the year on Steamboy? Somehow
2004.
2004. Somehow or
And
another, I didn't write that down.
you were saying like
20 years.
culturally, like perhaps he felt like he failed the audience
Yeah,
when really the audience failed him.
yeah,
Like if a creator creates something, and especially if it's of the quality that Steamboy is, and I get, you could kind of go into the story of Steamboy. It's not bombastic. Like I would even say like Metropolis has some bombastic elements to it,
yeah,
and Steamboy definitely does. But this is like you got to pay attention to what's going on.
yeah.
This is an actual story. It's not just flashy animation and stuff like that. Like that, he's telling a story here.
The point that was probably made at his expenses, like you could have done this exact same story for a whole lot less money, and it would have been the same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
It just would have been just putting that much effort and that much manpower, that many resources into it. Just it wasn't that good of a story. It's a really simple story. It's a good kids film.
hmm
It's a good way to kind of get this message about introducing those ideas of morality and science and weapons and things like that to a younger audience without it just being like Akira, where in the first 5 minutes there's a guy getting blown into like hamburger,
yeah.
gunned down in the street, and then it gets worse from there in terms of visual things that are way too heavy for a kid. And this doesn't do that. This is almost like Mononoke at some points where you're watching it and it's like this is a kids movie, and then like I remember the first time we were watching Mononoke with a some friends of my daughters, and he's on the oh, what's that little deer that he rides? There's a name for it, but
I don't know the name.
he's riding that thing and like he shoots an arrow across the thing, and it like you see it like trail and it hits a dude, and like it just his head goes off. And then like the one of the girls that was with a friend of my daughter like turned around and looked at me. He's like, "What is this rated?" And I was like, "I don't know. I think it's okay." But it's one of it has some moments like that where there's some battling at the end and people are getting killed, but it's not like Akira violence. It's
Right.
not. I mean, it's violent, but it's not probably not for your 6 year old, maybe your 12 year old.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of one of
This
those.
is definitely a good like preteen, young teen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're able to actually sit down and talk about like a theme of a movie with
Right.
somebody, it's a great movie to start with. I'll come back to some more stuff about the numbers of that at the end of it. the the story centers around these characters. This I still think is the worst part of the whole thing. James Ray Steam, that they
Is that his name?
his name is Steam.
James Ray Steam.
All of these guys, Lloyd and Eddie, they're all
Okay.
Lloyd Steam, Eddie Steam. I'm like, probably could have done
Eh,
a little different with that. That part always bothers me. It doesn't matter in the story, but
yeah.
James is the kid, Lloyd is the granddad, Eddie is his is James's father, and then your kind of other big players in the movie are the O'Hara Foundation, which is an American company, and several characters involved with that. Robert Stevenson, who is like a British sort of, that's the world we live in now. You say like maybe he's like the British version of Elon Musk.
Okay.
There's he's a British like sort of tech guy, has a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's sort of like a maybe like a Tesla kind of guy, England's version of that. But
Just a quick aside, I just looked up a couple of translations for Steam. In German, Steam is Dampf. So DAMPF, James Ray Dampf. That would have been kind of cool. Always translate to something.
It's just a German accent, just saying damp.
Damp. Yeah, Dampf.
It's damp in there. So steamy.
So steamy.
The last character is Scarlet. That's kind of a girl that becomes like sort of the companion of James, and she's part of the O'Hara family as well.
Scarlet O'Hara.
Completely.
That's a point.
And I think that's one of those things that seems hokey to us, but if you think about how he named characters, to be tributes to what inspired him,
right?
The O'Hara Company is completely supposed to be the typical 1860s American, because this I didn't say that yet. This is 1860s when this takes place. Mostly in London.
I was about to say it takes place. I was thinking it took place in England. Yeah.
Mostly in London, some in Manchester and the countryside. But the Americans are supposed to be the stereotypical antebellum, sort of rich, whatever you want to call them, plantation type people. It starts out in 1863 in Russian Alaska, which is kind of cool. I love it when people actually get history right. we didn't own Alaska then. And then it moves to London in 1866. So this is all during the American Civil War to just after it. They're developing in Russia. It's kind of a cool idea that they found like a pure mineral water that can be used to make more powerful steam.
Yeah, to make better steam.
Yeah. And with the whole idea of everything being steam and pipes and valves and stuff and trying to control all that pressure, there's an explosion there that Eddie, who's just I guess the granddad is kind of the brains behind this. Lloyd, the son is kind of the bigger. He looks like the Colonel from Akira. I'm sure there's a character probably in Metropolis that kind of looks like him too, but he gets injured there. You're not really exactly sure what happens to him. And then you cut to like more there in Manchester, out in the countryside in England, where James, or they call him Ray. It was James Ray Steam. I think they refer to him as Ray through the movie, right? I think that's right.
Yeah.
Ray's living out there with like I think it's his dad's sister, so like his aunt or something. But this ball shows up, gets sent to their house, and it's like this little
steam ball.
I don't know if we have a picture of that handy, but
I can go.
It's like a little device they made that can like harness like this huge amount of like steam, and I guess maybe that's the idea of like the pure mineral water is it doesn't take very much of it to make huge steam and huge power, because that's almost it's like a steam version of a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like we've had all sorts of specifically thinking about Mission Impossible films, like and James Bond type films, like this little device can power the world for 100 years, that kind of thing, and everybody wants to kill you for it.
What's Iron Man's little thing called?
Yeah, the not the Tesseract.
It's not the flux capacitor either.
No.
We won't get there.
Iron Man with a flux capacitor in his chest might be interesting.
A blender on his back. Put some bananas in it.
Let's see. The Iron Man power source is called the arc reactor.
Arc reactor.
Yeah, that is absolutely I think a really good analogy there. Is it's the arc reactor of this world.
It's the whole thing of kind of what people want out of science is to come up with like this thing can power everything, and then we don't have to burn all these
Yeah,
resources and do all this kind of stuff.
which science has done many times,
Well,
but
we can do it
but
right now, but
but
then
industry prevents it.
you could
That's
have a
another podcast.
you could have a nuclear plant here on the James River that would power Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, and half of Tennessee and Kentucky, but we can't do it because the same people that want you to not have any gas to drive your car say nuclear power is bad. And it's
The
like, okay, that's because you want us to buy solar panels from your company that you own, so blow it out your rear end.
I don't know why. Just the fact that how long have we had nuclear subs in the water for the U.S. Navy, and there's been zero incidents.
Nuclear is great. It's just
yeah.
it doesn't allow for people that are in power to make a lot of money because it
Yeah.
doesn't. Once you build a nuclear plant, you're kind of good.
You think I know like Elon Musk is all about like solar energy and stuff, but you think there would be some industrialist who like says, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna build these plants, and we're gonna. But then you have the politicians that are involved, and
You
the
get all the
politicians are in the
government
pockets of the coal
regulation.
industry, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Back to the steampunk world of Steamboy.
They want to sell you blades for your windmill and
yeah.
solar power panels that will last for 5 years. So,
anyway,
the ball shows up at his house really shortly after the foundation, and that's the O'Hara Foundation shows up, the Americans, and really shortly after that, Lloyd, the grandfather, shows back up, and he's pretty much like, take this and go. So he flees. Kind of one of the coolest things of the thing. You have the picture of the little mono wheel thing.
Yeah.
I'll come back to that, but he has this little mono wheel bike,
which is an actual device people made.
It was actually, there were blueprints for this thing. People tried to make it, and what happens to him in the movie is the reason.
Is what happened.
Or they call it gerbling, where it's the thing in the middle. You're supposed to be able to sit still while this wheel rolls around you, but it would hang up, and if it hung up, you went around too. Nice. You're like a little gerbil on a wheel. Yeah. Actually, that's what everybody calls it, is gerbling. And that was the problem with this. I think after 3 or 4 people that tried to develop this thing almost got beat to death by gerbling. They're just like, let's do something else.
That do this. I mean, not only that, but the fact that your line of sight is just completely obscured by the wheel itself.
Hey, what's his name? General Grievous.
Yeah.
He's got one.
Yeah.
He had it figured out. Obi-Wan gets on a lizard to chase him, doesn't he? It's just Grievous that has the little mono wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the there is a thing called a tread wheel in Dune Awakening, that game I'm playing.
Yeah.
That is pretty much if this is a mono wheel, it's a duo wheel. It's just the idea of the mono wheel, but just 2 of them, which would probably work.
Yeah. Like he starts to flee, and the Foundation comes out, and they get on a thing that's basically like a steam locomotive that you can drive on the road.
Yeah.
So they're toying with this whole idea of like if steam was the major tech source at the time.
This is literally steampunk. Like there's not a lot of steampunk media. Like Wild Wild West with Will Smith, that's steampunk. Yeah. This is what, when people think of steampunk, this is it.
Yeah.
Because all technology is based off of steam.
Yeah.
Or all industrial technology, at least.
But he flees. He eventually gets captured. He goes to the Foundation, and when he gets to the Foundation, he finds his dad, Eddie, working on the steam castle, which is like kind of like a big steam-powered Death Star.
Yeah, it's the ziggurat.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I just thought, like, I'm surprised Akira didn't have a ziggurat. I was like, well, actually, Tetsuo was kind of the ziggurat.
They get into this whole story with the Scarlet and Ray, and I saw somebody pointing this out. It's like they kind of wanted like there to be this affection for Scarlet being the girl that kind of grows on Ray, and they kind of develop a relationship. But like people can't get over the fact that at the beginning of the movie, she beats her dog. Like I don't know if you remember those scenes.
No,
the first
time I've seen this like twice, and it was back in the mid-2000s.
The first time that she's like, you are introduced to her, she's holding like this little chihuahua, and it growls at, I think, at Ray or whoever's there, and she just like nails it on the head a couple times.
I'm gonna look this up on YouTube. I gotta see.
And
this.
I think she throws it like into the corner, and I think she like hits it again. She like, and it like makes her to where it's like anybody that like watches movies now is like, they cannot like this character because she beats this little dog like 2 or 3 times.
That's great. Steamboy 2004 Scarlet introduction.
Scarlet.
And
Yeah, I think it's the first time you see her is when she just like she's holding the dog in her arms and she's just like bam. She's just like just punching it in the head and you're like, man, what are you doing? But anyway, let me know when you find that.
yeah,
I'll keep
yeah.
talking. Um, Lloyd, they've got Ray and Eddie are there working on the steam castle. He kind of starts helping his dad. Lloyd shows back up, or I guess he breaks out because they have him captured as well, and shows Ray that the Foundation is building weapons. Did you find
Yeah.
it?
It's like a little chihuahua and he's barking and she's like, oh, funk.
It's like right after I can't remember she puts it down
That's
or she throws it
hilarious.
on the ground and like she like I can't remember if she hits it with something or like just slaps it and I'm like you're sitting there watching this. I was like, is this supposed to be funny? It's like this little girl's just beating this dog. But
I'm sure you could put some sort of commentary on it, but it would all be like to make her an unsympathetic character.
I think for the rest of the movie they
Yeah,
try to make you like her and it's like nah, that's the girl who hit the dog. Nah,
that's funny.
nah, not having it. I'm not liking your character.
Anyway,
But Lloyd shows back up and like exposes to Ray that the Foundation is building weapons, and this is all in preparation for the Great Exposition. The Great Exposition is supposed to be based off of I think it was like maybe 1851. They had a I don't think they called it a World's Fair yet, but they had this huge like basically it was a World's Fair. It's like the
hmm
first World's Fair that happened in London, and it was like I think the real thing was like 14,000 vendors and like six or 700,000 people showed up to this thing to show the technology of the future.
the Crystal Palace.
Yeah, they built it
Yeah.
at they built the Crystal Palace for that. They um, displayed most of the stuff in there. It's like this huge. I mean, it literally is like Crystal Palace. It looks like a great big, like massive, like crystal train station almost.
hmm
Um, and they actually have that same structure in this movie, which is again Otomo doing his homework. Um, which again is why this movie is probably a little bit underrated. Is that he does his attention to detail is kind of insane. Um, but what's supposed to be like this big exposition for the world to just show off science and what science can do and the future of things is really kind of a front to be the O'Hara Foundation using it as a place to sell weapons to other countries, to sell these steam weapons,
Yeah,
and that kind of comes back into the
yeah,
moral dichotomy of being a scientist. Is
yeah.
like, how do you make something that is based off of anything powerful that can benefit the future that can't be weaponized? It's
Right.
like is I'm not sure that's possible, but one sec.
I like how he shows it happening because so many movies just like mention it. I'm thinking The Fifth Element explicitly, where Lilu like learns our history and she's like, everything you make, you use to destroy, and it's just like they tell you. Like in this one, it's like, hey, look what this guy's doing. You like actually see it.
So Ray sees this, so he steals the ball. I think there's in the steam castle that Eddie is building. It takes three of the steam balls for it to function.
Right.
So Ray takes one of them and escapes from working with Eddie. Goes to the Stevenson guy, the Robert Stevenson, that's supposed to be the good British guy, to give it to him and try to tell him about what the O'Hara Foundation is doing with the weapons. Stevenson shows up with the British Navy and military to arrest Eddie, and he's using. Ray finds out he's using the same tech to power tanks and other kinds of weapons. So, like Stevenson and the Brits are doing the exact same thing. They're just using. They want the technology to power their weapons, and that's what the O'Hara Foundation is trying to do. Gets into it's pretty awesome, the battle between like the steam powered robots and the tanks. A lot of the tanks are kind of based off of similar designs to like those early World War I tanks, but they're all like steam driven and stuff, and they're much more compact, smaller. Because those things they used in World War I were just like the size of small
Right.
buildings. They're really impractical, other than to just drive over top of trenches and like shoot flamethrowers out and just try to burn people. They were not very good weapons of war, or at least not very fast ones. But they Ray just comes to the realization that it doesn't matter what it is, it's going to be weaponized. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Lloyd and Ray he goes back to Lloyd, his granddad, and they take over the castle. Um, Eddie reappears um, because the castle's like kind of over London and up. It kind of looks like it's gonna like pretty much blow up the city. He helps them steer it to safety, and then they all escape as it explodes. They kind of take it up the river. I guess it's the Thames or the Thames, however you say that.
Teams, yeah.
Thames.
Yeah.
It explodes, but the and then from there, I mean that's kind of the ending of the movie is that
Yeah.
they all survive, they all escape, they all get back together after they blow up this thing, and then it kind of goes into like where I've talked about with Otomo how I think he wanted his stuff to be something that people would kind of seize on it and
Yeah.
things would blow out from it. They go into this like really detailed the montage through the credits of these still pictures, and it shows like Ray becomes like a because he uses like one of the little steam ball, basically like makes himself fly with it during the
Right.
movie.
Yeah. Yeah. He uses it as the power source for different things
Yeah,
throughout the film.
but it shows like in the little credit montage, it shows Ray becoming like a global superhero with a jetpack, and it shows like Lloyd is the
So,
one who invents electricity.
oh, okay. See, that's one of the cultural differences between Americans and the Japanese are the Japanese sit through credits. Americans, the only reason Americans do anymore is if there's an end credit scene.
Yeah,
Look on your phone. Does this movie never have an end credit scene? Nope. All right, I'm out of here. So like, I've never seen any of these. Like, because the credits start and I'm like, movie's done, off.